Come one, come all to the UNJ and NISLT man Halloween extravaganza! It's that time of year where I get to be edgy and it seems like it's normal. The background music changes. Sin is back from the grave, as am I. And doing what you might ask, all you fuckers and ghouls out there, I'm here to tell you a grave tale. One so dastardly only the most toxic a person could come up with it, but it's real. This is going to be Tales from the Hood with your motherfucking Justin. Go grab a flashlight and a blanket. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I was getting really into character with that, and like, it might seem like cringy or fucking really weird, but I was having a great time doing that. Like, I think I found my calling in life. I'm just gonna abandon all this horse shit, and I'm gonna become like the narrator for like Halloween stories. But yeah, today we're gonna tell some dastardly, scary stories from my life. Go get a blanket, turn off the lights, enjoy the gameplay in the background, because it's probably gonna be sins, because I'm bad at video games. This is Tales from the Hood. I'm gonna try to do a bunch of shit like this up until like Halloween. Maybe I'll even do some shit like after Halloween because of how much I'm into this. Now, usually in the stories, I just straightforward tell you what's up. I try to be as descriptive as possible, but in these stories, the Tales from the Hood, I'm going to replace certain aspects of the story and certain details with scary Halloween words to make the story more Halloween-like. Our tragedy of the day begins with your boy, you're not motherfucking Justin, and he is 15 years old. He's in the prime of his life. He's in high school. Now, this young Justin, I keep doing the Halloween voice, but it's really fun though. Like, at home, I want you to just like talk in like the scariest Halloween voice that you can, and you try to stop talking like it. It's pretty fucking fun. Moving onward though. It was a very ominous day in October, the month for all the weirdest shit to happen. And see, this was a different time. I was 15 years old, and the shit that flies now would never fly 6 years ago. We didn't have fucking pussies who watch anime dressing up in clown outfits, standing outside just doing nothing and wasting their time. And since we're on the topic of scary Halloween stories and scary Halloween things, the clown thing, it's a shitty gimmick, and if you ever see a clown, just do exactly what I'm gonna do if I ever see one. I'm gonna treat them exactly how they are. Like a virgin who doesn't have any friends, who's trying to be edgy, who's real confused, no job, jerks off to cartoons. Those are all the ingredients to a potion that'll stop those dastardly dickheads. But we're in a different time zone right now. There's nobody who dresses up in clown outfits just because they have nothing better to do. Since I live in the town that I live in, it's just another day in the hood. We've got kids going to school, we've got drugs being sold, crimes being committed, people dying, people getting hurt. It's another eerie day. But it's an especially eerie day for You're Not Motherfucking Justin. Him and one of his really good friends at the time, somebody he used to make YouTube videos with, they're up to the no good that they're usually up to. They're hitting on girls, they're pulling pranks, smashing pumpkins, stealing candy, skipping class, fucking shit up, all because it's that time of the year. But that was till one day, I and my friend had found a new secret spot in the school, in the auditorium. And how we did that is, pretty much, and here's just like some dumb shit that you can do at your own school if you want, I guess. You didn't hear it from me, I'm clearly joking. Every school has locked doors, the auditorium was always locked, except for when the janitor would go into it and open it. So if you ever see that somebody's going to a door that's locked and they're opening it, you just follow right behind them with a folded piece of paper, fold that paper as much times as you can, or with the piece of tape, and you just put it right there in between the door where it latches. Tape the button inside of it, and the door won't be able to close. It'll look like it closed, but it won't. It was all a part of our big evil plan though. We had saw a janitor who went into the auditorium, and instead of doing the obvious thing, instead of just following right behind him and blatantly leaving the door unlocked with him just right there, we did the next best thing. We followed him inside of the auditorium, and then we both pulled out a machete and fucking killed him. No, I'm just kidding. We didn't actually kill him. That would be wrong. That's not right, okay? We did follow him though, and we waited outside of the door. From the very beginning of the year, he always knew that we were up to something, but he couldn't quite tell what. Were we up to sacrifices? Were we luring poor students to their deaths? Or maybe we were brewing something. Something poisonous. God, I love Halloween. He had no idea what we were up to because we were so good, we were so sneaky and mischievous that he had no possible way of knowing what we possibly could have done. So he goes into the auditorium, we wait for him to come out, and there we go, the door opens and he comes out and I say, "Excuse me, sir, but I think I left a jacket in there. Could you go check for me, please?" And he was like, oh, of course I will, sonny. I don't even know why I did like a hillbilly voice. He didn't sound like a hillbilly, but I guess it makes it a little bit better. Hillbilly voices are pretty Halloween, I think. And while he went in there and looked, I sent my friend in there, and he went inside of there and he hid. He hid himself behind the seats in there where nobody could see him. And I just stood out the door waiting for the janitor to get back. And this dude comes back and he's like, "I didn't find a jacket in there, fella." And I was like, "Ah, whatever, I didn't want it anyways." So he leaves, he goes and he does janitor shit. like cleaning up shit. And that's when my friend who's on the inside of the auditorium does his thing, and he sneaks not to the door that the janitor went in through, but a door where nobody else can go in through. He goes to that door on the other side of the auditorium that's on the stage, and he papers that door open. And the reason he papered that door open was because we had papered another door open that nobody ever uses or even knows about, because the door is always locked. It's a door that leads to absolutely nothing except for the door that we papered that got to the auditorium. So that was 2 papered doors, both unlocked, both nobody knew about, or would care to know about. So from every day onward from that point, we would go get lunch, and then we would sneak into the auditorium, where on the stage there was this giant thing that they would use for like the Romeo and Juliet like play that they would do. And it was like 10 feet tall. You have to climb up a ladder to get inside of this box thing that was on the very top. We brought chairs up there, we brought a radio, and we would just hang out inside of it. We called it the Clubhouse, and we wrote on it with Sharpie. We spelled it with a K. It's probably still there for all I fucking know. But it was a very, very happy time in such a ghastly season. Every single day for lunch, we would go up there and do that. It was great. The auditorium was nice and dark with a nice little light that we had up there. It was almost like eating at a fucking restaurant. That's how nicely lit the place was. There was a light that only covered the actual clubhouse. As cunning as my friend and I were, not everybody could be as smart and not be a fucking retard. See, what my friend and I were interested in was doing stuff that was really fucking cool. What other kids were interested in was sneaking out and getting high. But not my friend and I. We just wanted to do shit that was cool because we wanted to make more than minimum wage at one point. And we wanted to have good memories that we could actually remember. Whereas the other kids clearly didn't want to remember it because they were too busy getting high. And one day, a security guard at our school came up to us and said, "Do you boys know anything about doors being left unlocked and children going to get high in certain parts of the school?" This security guard was a very nice man. He's a very great man. He's honest. He actually used to work at a prison, which was why he was so good to us. And he was on to it too. He was on to us. He knew everything that we did, but he was so cool about it because he knew that we weren't trying to get high or anything. But there was one thing that he didn't know about, and that was our secret spot that we would go eat at, the Clubhouse. But he did want us to tip him off on some kind of shit that was going on with other kids getting high and stuff, and we weren't those kind of kids that would tell on other people. We left it to the authorities to do that type of shit. We weren't the authority. We were just trying to have some motherfucking fun. And we were like, yeah, there's some kids that are idiots. I'm sure you know who they are, but we don't know anything about it. And then he looks at us and he says, "All right, you boys, I know that you're not the ones who are doing it, but what you are doing, you better stop doing it." And we're like, is that a challenge? And we parted ways. And as we walked away, we saw the janitor go and start talking to him. We didn't really think anything of it. Time passes by and it's just another typical day. We're inside the clubhouse, we're eating, we're just having a good time. We have the radio going, and we had finished eating early, so we just got down from the clubhouse. We were just looking around at everything that was in the room. We were seeing all the props that they had set up and all this random shit that was just laying around, taking it all in. The radio was still going, playing our favorite jams, when the noise we never wanted to hear rang through the entire auditorium. We heard the door fucking open, and that was when the stealth mission begun. It was the janitor, and he had came from the door that he initially let us in through. We were too far away from the radio to go unplug the motherfucker, and our stealth mission had already begun. So as sneaky as we possibly could without making any noise at all, we went to the door, took the paper out, we went outside, we put the paper back in, and we did the same to the other door, and we just transitioned back into the normal part of school, and we looked like we belonged there, like we weren't doing anything wrong. Very shook up from the experience, we decided that we'd give it a rest for like 2 or 3 days. And we waited for all of about a day until it ate us alive on the inside, and we just had to go back. We couldn't eat lunch with all those peasants. So one day passes by and we decide, you know what? We don't need to wait 2 or 3 days. We can just go back there now. He'll never figure out it was us. So we go right on back. The paper is still there. We walk right on in. It's like we own the place. But this time something had changed. At the clubhouse, the radio was gone. No longer there. We have no idea till this day what exactly happened to the radio, but we think that the janitor took it, and he's currently using it right now to sacrifice it to the gods and turned me into like a horse or some shit. I don't fucking know. I'm just Halloween rambling at this point. The radio is completely fucking gone though. And we were like, oh man, that sucks. That dickhole took the radio. And then you'd think that the story would just end there. We would leave because we knew that we were gonna get caught. But no, we took the challenge anyways. So we're eating inside the clubhouse. We're 10 feet up in the air. It's a great time. We're chit-chatting. And then that's when we hear the door open. And this time we have nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. So we duck our heads down so that way he can't see us up in the sky. And we're keeping as absolutely quiet as possible. Not even breathing because we don't want to get caught. What seems like an hour is only like 30 seconds. And that's when the fucking light, the only light that's in the room, shuts off. And it just turns the whole auditorium completely black. What we saw that day was for Stevie Wonder's eyes only. We were both panicking, and we were both trying not to laugh, And then we looked down at my fucking shoelaces. And at the time, because I was 15, I had shoelaces that glowed in the dark. And we both saw that my shoelaces were glowing in the dark. And we both just lost it and started laughing our fucking asses off. And at that moment, the evil witch janitor lets out a loud yell. I knew you two was up there. Y'all better get down from there right now. Accepting our fate, my friend and I climbed on down. And we were ready to be turned into like porridge or something to be fed to his family. He calls the principal into the auditorium, and him, I, the principal, and my friend all had like a 10-minute conversation about why we can't be doing that and how he's gonna suspend us. And the sacrifice right then and there was done. He had suspended us, they killed us, they ate us, and now our ghosts are the only thing that live on in that auditorium to this day, haunting all of the youngsters in the high school. And to those of you out there who may one day stumble upon the clubhouse, don't do as I did. Be more careful, or else you might just end up enjoying your stay. And this has been Tales from the Hood. And here's where we're cueing evil laughter and shit like that. Honestly, I had a fucking blast making this video. This is probably one of my favorite stories that I have from my life because it was literally ridiculous. And it's even better because it's more of a Halloween story. And I can't wait to tell you guys the next story that I'm going to tell you because it's like almost the same thing. It's the same concept, but it's more on an extreme scale, on an extreme, like I'm going to get arrested for telling the story scale. It's going to be a very fun time. As well, since it is the season, all of you guys leave your stories down below in the comments section. Make sure you tell the scariest ones that you got, and we'll have a nice Halloween special viewer stories video. Click the videos on the screen. Sin just came back. He was resurrected by the dark forces of magic. Leave a like on this video too, to pay your respects to the ghost of You're Not Motherfucking Justin and his friend. Thanks for watching. As always, I'm Justin and you're motherfucking not. I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe the day after that. Hopefully tomorrow though. Regardless, I will see you again. Remember, if you see a clown out in public, just beat the shit out of him, bully him, because he's not gonna fucking do anything. He's some weeaboo virgin. Have a great night. Remember that the ghost of UNJ is watching.